Today's day 5. Primarily what we'll be talking about today is slope, what it is, how to find it, whether you're given a graph or given 2 points. And then we'll take a look at graphing some lines using their slope as well. So the definition of slope is the rate at which a function changes, how quickly the function is rising or falling. So write that definition down, and then you do not need to necessarily write this part here down. But we've got 3 lines here. We want to put them in order from the smallest slope to the largest slope. So slope, again, it's the rate at which a function is changing. It's basically how steep this line is. So as we read a line from left to right, the one with the smallest slope, the one that is increasing the least, bonus line here, away. The one that is increasing the least is this guy right here. So the blue one has the smallest slope, and then the black one has the next most slope, and then this one here, the purple line, has the steepest slope. So in order from least to greatest would be this one, and then this one. If we do have a line that looks like this, so it's falling as it goes from left to right. This one here, this line would have a negative slope. So that line has a negative slope. Each of these, because they're getting bigger as we read them from left to right, all of those slopes are positive. Horizontal lines, if they go straight across, we say that they have a slope of 0. Horizontal lines have a slope of 0. And vertical lines, lines that go straight up and down, we say that their slope is undefined. They have an undefined slope. Slope is equal to rise over run. Slope is rise over run. So we are going to use that rise over run to identify the slope of this line right here. So example 1 asks us to use rise over run to identify the slope. So when we're finding slope, we use the letter M to represent slope. Why, I'm not exactly sure, but we do use M to represent slope. So when we're finding the slope here, we're going to say slope, M, is equal to rise over run. And notice things that rise, they're going up or down. So we're going to start with one point. Usually we're going to start with a point that's further to the left. So I'm using these 2 points that they've shown us here, and I'm going to start at this point. You can start with this point and go to that one. You'll get the same answer. But it's usually easier to start with the one furthest to the left. So as I go from this point to this point, our rise is how much it goes up or how much it goes down. If we go up, it's going to have a positive rise, and if we go down, it's going to have a negative rise. So to get from this point to this point, I go up 1, 2, 3 units. So my rise is 3. And my run, things that run go side to side. If I go to the right, it has a positive run. If I go to the left, it has a negative run. I go right 1, 2 units. My slope is 3 over 2. Suppose we had started at this point and we went to this point here. Notice my rise this time is 1, 2, 3. It's down 3. That'd be negative 3. And then my run is to the left 2 because we're going left. My run is negative. And then negative divided by negative is also positive 3 over 2. So either way you do it, you find that that line has a slope of 3 over 2. I want you quickly to decide what the slope of this line is. You make a decision here. Count what your slope is. So slope is rise over run. I'm going to start at the leftmost point, which is this one, and then I'm going to go to this point right here. So my rise, I am going down, so my rise is negative 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 4, and my run is over 1. And I went to the right one, so it is positive. Negative 4 divided by 1 is just negative 4. I have a slope of negative 4. I want you to try these three. Pause the video and find the slope of those three lines. Once you think you have it, you can push play and take a look at the answers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This first one has a slope of down 5 over 4, so negative 5 over 4. This one, my rise, notice I go up 0 over 1. 0 divided by 1 is 0. Notice also earlier we said horizontal lines have a slope of 0. That's why, because I go up 0 and then over. And then this line here is the same as that line over there, down 2, 3, 4, 5 over 4. Oops, I gave you the same line twice. Anyway, so make sure you understand how to find slope given a graph. If we have a graph, we should be able to find the slope between the 2 points. If they don't give us a graph, if instead they tell us what those points are, we are going to use this formula right here. Slope, which we use m to represent slope, is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So example 3 asks us to find the slope between those 2 points. 5, 3 and 7, 2. Find the slope between the points 5, 3 and 7, 2. When you do this, the first thing you're going to want to do is label your points. Now remember, when we're talking about x and y, it's always the x first and then the y. So this is my first point. So I'm going to label this as x1 and this as y1. That's the x value of my first point, and this is the y value of my first point. This is my second point. So this is going to be x2, and this is y2. Next thing you're going to want to do is write down the formula. Write it down every single time, every problem. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And then we're going to plug in things where they go. So y2, we labeled y2 is 2. So I'm going to put 2 in for the y2. And then it says minus y sub 1. Y sub 1 is 3. X sub 2 is 7. And x sub 1 is 5. And then we do our subtraction. Here I've got 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 7 minus 5 is 2. I get a fraction. I cannot reduce it. It is already reduced. That is our slope, negative 1/2. Let's try another one. Find the slope in between the points, negative 8, 6, and negative 3, negative 4. Find the slope in between the points, negative 8, 6, and negative 3, negative 4. First thing we want to do is label our points. Here's x1, y1, x2, y2. Then you write your formula down. M equals y2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And then we plug in things where they belong. Y sub 2. Y sub 2 is equal to negative 4. Y sub 1. The y value of my first point is 6. X sub 2. X sub 2 is negative 3 minus x sub 1. X sub 1 is negative 8. So notice I have the minus sign from my formula right here, and then also x sub 1 is negative. So this minus sign is because of the minus sign in the formula. This minus sign is because x sub 1 is negative. And now we need to combine these. And this is why day 1, adding and subtracting integers was so important. Negative 4 minus 6. They're both negative, so I want to add 4 plus 6 is 10, and then make my answer negative. On the bottom, I've got minus, minus next to each other. Minus, minus next to each other. I'm going to rewrite that so that it's plus. Negative 3 plus 8. Negative 3 plus 8. One's negative and one's positive. When they're opposite signs and we're combining them, we subtract. We do 8 minus 3. And then the sign of the answer is the same as the sign of the bigger number. 8 was the bigger number, so that should be positive 5. Negative 10 divided by 5 comes out even, so you want to go ahead and divide them, and we get negative 2. Example 5. Example 5. Find the slope, and we are again given 2 points, 5, negative 3, and negative 4, positive 3. 5, negative 3, and negative 4, 3. Label your points. x1, y1, x2, y2. That's the same every time. X value of the first point, y value of the first point. X of the second point, y of the second point. Write the formula down. The formula is the same thing every single time. Plug things in where they go. y2 is 3 minus y1 is negative 3. x2 is negative 4 minus x sub 1 is 5. Do your subtraction. Minus, minus next to each other like this. We can change that to plus. 3 plus 3 is 6. Negative 4 minus 5 should be negative 9. Got a positive number divided by a negative number, so my slope is negative. 6 and 9, I can reduce that. I want to divide them both by 3. And our slope is negative 2 over 3. Negative 2/3 is correct. That is how we find slope, whether it is from a graph or given 2 points. If you're having questions over any of that, please